Hi guys, it's your girl Nadira. I know today's Thursday. What the heck is she doing up here, right? So I'm just sitting in a car waiting on my son to get his hair cut. And I was just thinking about relationships and how we as African Americans, black people, doesn't matter the religion, we get into relationships and we don't deal with our childhood traumas, or we don't understand the expectations that we have on our significant other, or the expectation that they have on us, and why we have that certain expectation. I watched a video, Jada Pickett and her husband Will Smith, and they also were talking about fatherhood, but they kind of like dipped into, you know, how he became the father that he was, and that was due to how he saw his father parent. So that kind of like, I just was sitting here thinking, and then that just popped up in my head, you know, being in a relationship and dealing with certain things in a relationship, and your expectations of a person or vice versa, without understanding their makeup of how they were raised, what they saw, childhood trauma. We all have some type of childhood trauma that we don't think is an issue until we're older, we're in a relationship, and it starts to seep out. I just want to bring this to the forefront that we can't put what we see on TV. I know for me, you think that a marriage, you're supposed to be this person is supposed to complete you and make you happy, right? That's not the case. You have to make yourself happy, and I am still learning that today. It's a struggle, but I'm learning it nonetheless, that I have to find my own happiness. And then the person that comes into your life, they're just an add-on to your happiness. They have to find their happiness, and you have to find your happiness. We oftentimes go through things in our life, and it may seem like you don't have an issue with, maybe your mom wasn't in your life, your father wasn't in your life, or maybe your father was abusive, or your mother was abusive. So you may say to yourself, I'm never going to put my hands on my wife, or I'm never going to put my hands on my children. But you may yell at them, give them the silent treatment. Your experience is going to be different from their experience, because now it's going to be like, I'm never going to yell at so now your child is going to say, I'm never going to yell at my child like my mother or my father did me, or I'm never going to not speak to my child if I make them mad like my parents did me. So now you're giving your child another experience. We should know that there is no rule book to parenting, but we have to, once a kid get of a certain age, They have understanding of how they feel and their feelings. I often talk to my son because I know where I come from. And I know that yelling and, you know, saying slick stuff sometimes was what I was raised upon. But, you know, having a conversation with my son, he brought some things to my attention. Like, Mom, like sometimes you be yelling and, I just be trying to figure out, like, why you yelling? Like, is it necessary? And sometimes now knowing how he feel, I try to catch myself. When he does something that I don't like, I don't yell like but I get to the point where if I tell him something several times, then my voice may get a little louder and he'll be like, so, but it's communication is, but I do realize that I didn't like to be yelled at as well. So me saying this is something that I, was a learned behavior. So now I'm exuding it out to my child. And I was pulled up on that because we have conversations and I talk to him about, anything that I've said that, may have offended him. Because right now he's 16, soon he'll be graduating high school, going off to college, and he'll have a family of his own. And I want him to be able to, when he have children and when he have a wife, to talk about these things, and have these conversations. When we get into relationships, we don't talk about, how we were raised and what are like your triggers, because we all have triggers. And we need our mates, we need to figure out our triggers. We need to be able to have some type of signal or some type of word that can reel us back in if we get into a moment of, disagreement, or, you're having an argument. There needs to be some type of pause word where, y'all can either go away, you go one way, they go the other way for a few minutes, and then y'all come back together and y'all have a conversation and y'all talk about, what y'all to that point, because you may have said something that triggered him, or he may have said something or did something that triggered you. And y'all have to be able to come to some type of median. Maybe she likes to talk, right away about it, and maybe he don't. Maybe he needs a minute. You need to respect that he needs that minute to regroup and come back, and then you guys could talk about it. Or maybe she sometimes can't, articulate her words when she's angry, so she may need to write you a letter. Don't laugh at it or dismiss the letter. You read the letter and then y'all come back and y'all talk about it. These are ways that you help build a better, healthier relationship. We as a people are traumatized. We've seen so many things, we've heard so many things at early ages. We've dealt with parents that's on drugs, parents that, have been incarcerated, and parents that have died and left their children with grandparents or whatever, or parents that just was doing their own thing. And this is why you should not do videos in your car when people come with their music. But anyway, but you deal with, those things where people in your family, they have issues where the parents may just be in their own world and doing their own things, and then the kids are just with the grandparents. And you still have trauma, you still have childhood trauma with that, not a child not being with their mother and father. That's trauma altogether. So, just let's be mindful of that. Let's help each other out. Let's go to counseling. Men, look at me. See me? Look at me. Counseling is not the enemy. Counseling doesn't mean that you're not a man and you can't handle your family, or you can't handle your emotions, or you're going against the law. All the excuses that men have. It's not that. It's to help you and help your family. A man should want to do any and everything that will help keep his family together. Women, we should go as well. You know, we have issues, we have trauma that we need to deal with to be better women, to be better mothers, to be better friends. So we need to go as well. I think we're more receptive to going than the men. But you do have some women that don't feel that it does anything, or it helps, or it benefits for whatever reason. But it does. Let's get together and rebuild our families. Let's bring the men back in the homes, because for so long this system has took our men out of the homes. Let's bring our families back together. Let's put the men back in their positions. And women, it's okay to be strong, but it's okay to let a man lead. But I said a man. Get it right. A man, not a boy. If he a boy and he can't take care of his responsibilities as a man, you need to get a job, not relying on mama, all that good stuff, then a man leads your home. Let a man lead your home. Let our boys see these men leading our home so they can go out and be leaders as well. That's it for me. Until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum. Peace.